Just like most people, I prefer to live in a place that's affordable and where my money can actually go a long way. I have lived in the Philippines all of my life, and I've always wanted to explore other countries where I can really stretch my budget while at the same time enjoy a good standard of living. And if you're familiar with my channel and the content that I share here, it's all centered around living simply and slowly. Ideally, I prefer to live on $500 a month or less is even better. And after spending 3 years and counting in Chiang Mai, I realized that this is by far my most favorite place in the world, and I can honestly say that this is home for me, at least for now. And in today's video, I would like to share my experience after living in Chiang Mai for that amount of time, as well as the pros and cons of living in certain parts of Chiang Mai based on my experience and observation, as well as activities to do while you're here, and also the visa situation if you want to stay long term. I've been asked a lot about these topics, and so I decided to come up with a video that discusses all of these points, and I hope that this video will be helpful for you, especially if you're also curious about the topics that I have mentioned. We first arrived in Thailand in October 2018, and it was just the end of the rainy season, so the weather was perfect. It wasn't too hot or too humid, and it wasn't raining all of the time. So the countryside was lush, and it was a good time to explore some of the places that we were curious about, specifically Pai, which we did. And our first impression was, although it was kind of a touristy place at that time, we really enjoyed the countryside and was excited to check out more of Chiang Mai during that stay. And initially, we already had our mindset on renting a place in Bali, particularly in Ubud, because we really loved the place when we were there in 2017 and early 2018. But for some reason, we just had this spontaneous idea of checking out Chiang Mai, since my partner and I have never been there before. So long story short, what was supposed to be just a 2-week trip ended up becoming a 3-year stay in Chiang Mai, and counting, because we are still here and we are actually thinking about staying here for a while longer. Everything is just so much cheaper here in Chiang Mai compared to Bali, like the rent, the food, and there are far more activities to do here, so that is really a big plus for us. Just to give you a perspective, we were looking at this 1-bedroom house located in Champuhan Ridge, and it cost $500 to rent it per month. And at the time, I thought that was very expensive, and I still do think it is expensive. Whereas in Chiang Mai, it is easy to find a 1-bedroom apartment that is located in a quiet area for under $300. So that's a really big difference in terms of the rental price in Chiang Mai versus in Bali. And the same with food. In fact, here in Chiang Mai, I had the best mango and the best durian that I've ever had in my entire life. And it's also cheaper than in many of the places that I've been to in the past. So not only are fruits and vegetables better quality here, but they are also cheaper. Now let's talk about places to live. Chiang Mai is so diverse. You can find places closer to the mountains, or closer to the valley, closer to the woods, or somewhere in the city. Now, there are certain areas in Chiang Mai that are particularly popular among expats. So there's Niman, which is considered as Chiang Mai's trendiest place to live. That's where you can find a lot of Western restaurants and upscale bars. There's nightlife, and also it's closer to shopping malls. But the rent in Niman is just a bit more expensive than in other parts of Chiang Mai. Neiman is also very popular among digital nomads because there are plenty of co-working spaces and also coffee shops that are conducive to doing your work on your computer. So the old city is more cultural, and that's the place to go if you want to see more museums and cultural centers, old temples, as well as souvenir shops. Rent is also cheaper in the old city, but it's just a bit more crowded. Now, if you want to be in the middle of like the more cultural part of Chiang Mai, and then, well, at the same time, not super far from the city center, then there's Chiang Klan. So it's, like I said, it's not super busy there, although it's a bit farther from shopping malls, and although it's a bit farther from shopping malls, if that's something that appeals to you. And there are also many Western and Thai restaurants nearby, as well as coffee shops. Rent is also cheaper compared to Niman, but a bit more expensive compared to the old town. Now, if you don't want to live within the city center and you want to be closer to a more rural life, then there is Mae Rim, which is not so far from Chiang Mai, probably around 14 kilometers or 18 kilometers away. It's where you can have scenic drives and views of the mountains from a coffee shop and restaurant, and also the rent. But the rent is slightly more expensive than being in the city center. In Mae Rim, there are also many botanical gardens and national parks. Now, another popular place among expats who go to Chiang Mai is Hang Dong. It is on the outskirts of Chiang Mai city center, so it's not really far from Chiang Mai city, but it has a more rural vibe, and it's also popular among expat families. That's where we stayed for 3 years. We rented a house in a small neighborhood, and it was reasonably close to Obkan National Park, and lots of scenic rides and lots of scenic bike rides, such as the Samweng Loop and also Nam Pre and Ban Pong. Now, in terms of budget, you can live simply and comfortably here in Chiang Mai for as low as $500 or less, or you can live more lavishly for $1,000. It really depends on your lifestyle, but I can say with certainty that your money can really go a long, long way here in Thailand. So it's really just a nice feeling that when you spend on something, it's worth much more than what you expected. So I have a Philippine passport, and I can go to Thailand and stay there. I don't need a visa to enter Thailand, and I can stay here for 30 days and then extend it for another 30 days. So that's a total of 60 days on a visa exempt. But if you want to stay a bit longer than that, say 90 days, then that's a tourist visa. So you apply for a tourist visa at the Thai embassy in your country, in the country where you are, and then that gives you 60 days plus another 30 days when you extend before your visa ends. You extend here at the immigration office in Chiang Mai or wherever you are in Thailand. But some people want to stay longer than 90 days. So an option would be to apply for an education visa. So there's a 6-month education visa. There's also a 1-year education visa. If you want to stay longer than a year, then you can renew your education visa, so that gives you 2 years. If you are 50 years old and above, then you can apply for a retirement visa. But if you're not yet in the retirement age, then there is the business visa. There's also the elite visa, but it's just very expensive, and if you really do not plan on staying for 5 years, I don't recommend that type of visa. But it's really still up to you what you decide is best. So I find it helpful to speak with a visa agent who can explain to you more about the processes involved and what visa is more suitable for your needs and for your preferences. Now, in any country you go to, whether it's your home country or abroad, there will always be challenges. In Thailand, One of the challenges that you may encounter would be the language barrier. But if you choose to stay in Chiang Mai city center or bigger towns and cities in Chiang Mai, it's not really much of a problem because many Thai people speak at least basic English, so communication should be easy or doable. And then there's also the burning season that happens sometime around March to June, although this year it was very short. I think it was only March to May because of the monsoon season starting earlier. But outside of the burning season, the air quality in Chiang Mai is good. Occasionally there will be pollutions from vehicle exhaust, and then during rush hour, especially in bigger cities here, there will always be bad traffic. So yeah, it's just something to be expected in a bigger city. So you can just adjust your time when you want to go out, or if you really cannot deal with traffic, then there's the option of living in a smaller town where traffic is much lighter and easier for you. And then during the rainy season, it doesn't really rain like the whole day here. It would rain like a few minutes in the afternoon or late evening, but then the morning would be very pleasant. So right now is actually the rainy season, but as you can see, it's actually pretty sunny outside. So that is what I like about Chiang Mai. It gets less rain. If you like to live in a place that is closer to the mountains, has cooler winters, and then less rain during the rainy season, and just cheaper overall, but at the same time the standard of living is way more than what you pay for, then that is Chiang Mai. Relocating abroad or overseas is very intimidating, and there are always going to be challenges, and there are always going to be challenges. And of course, you have to take care of the logistics like visa, or if you have kids, finding a good school for your kids abroad, and so on, finding a house to rent. But personally, I find those things easier to deal with here in Chiang Mai. So there you go. I hope this video has been helpful for you, valuable and informative, and I have included several links in the description down below for your references. And before I end this video, like I said, this is a lifestyle channel where I like to share my simple lifestyle and how I manage to live slowly and minimally. And one way for me to be able to do that is to find a place where it is affordable, so I don't have to constantly push myself and be part of the rat race just so I can pay off a very expensive rent and very expensive lifestyle. So thank you again for watching. I hope this video has been valuable and informative and helpful for you, and wishing you well, and I hope to see you again next Saturday.